Hey, this is Victor McNeil with the Wallowa Avalanche Center. I'm down in the Southern Wallowas today. It's Saturday, and we're at a northeast aspect, about 7,400 feet. You might be able to see in the video, but a layer of pretty pronounced surface hoar has formed on the snow surface. We've seen this between 5,000 and 7,400 feet today. So we've got a couple different layers you can see in the snowpack, some different melt freeze crust. So we're just going to run through a quick compression test and see what we get. Alright, so the good news for right now is we've got a nice right side up snowpack, meaning there isn't a harder slab layer that's sitting on top of some weaker or softer snow. So it's pretty consistent as we go down through. It gets progressively harder as we get closer down to the bottom of the snowpack here. Really good news for us is, at least at this elevation, we didn't have any early season snow that sat on the ground for a long time. So a lot of times we get that real sugary, faceted snow down at the base. Well, we're not seeing that, at least at this elevation. One thing to keep in mind though is we'll keep tracking this layer of surface hoar, but when that layer gets buried, assuming that it does, what I like to think of is it's like a bunch of Lay's potato chips. They're all stacked up across this whole slope, and they start to get new snow on top of them, especially maybe some heavier snow or some wind pack snow. At some point, this layer that's very weak, this surface hoar, is going to fail. It can fail in shear and compression, and a big block of snow sitting on top of this, all of these are like little dominoes. They start to fall over, and you can get big time propagation, meaning that potentially you have a layer of chips across this entire bowl here. Somebody decides to high mark or jump off the cornice here, land on this super weak layer, and you get propagation across all the way around as far as you can see. So if you're not going to get out and do any digging to see if you find this layer, a lot of times what you'll notice if you're riding or you're hiking is a collapse, like a pocket of air has been released from the snowpack, or a whomping sound, okay? It's hard to describe, but you'll know when you hear it. And basically what you've done is you've collapsed the Lay's potato chips. They've all fallen over. So if you do that in a flat meadow, you've basically just caused an avalanche. It's just not steep enough to slide. So we'll continue to monitor this layer, but it's good to just have an idea of what this layer is. It forms during cold, clear nights. It's really beautiful to look at, but really deadly once it's buried in the snowpack. One more thing to add is this layer is known as a persistent weak layer. So when you read the avalanche forecast and you're reading about a persistent weak layer, this is one of those really weak layers that we're talking about. And the reason it's persistent is this can live in the snowpack for long periods of time. So it's beautiful to look at today, dangerous when buried tomorrow. We don't know what's going to happen with it between now and the next storm. Potentially it could get blown away. If we get a really big storm, it'll eventually compress this. But for a while, it's just laying up in a nice row and pretty weak once buried. So that's what we got for now.